Rank Battles is over once again, and here I am to provide you with my 2 cents on the weekend's action. Well, first things first, Rank Battles. It's getting more popular. The number of people in this game has 100% gone up. Personally, I'd put it down to the fact it's easier to reach the top ranks than what it was in previous Rank Battles, and this is probably going over the last 2 that I recognise or remember playing. Certainly playing those last 2, getting to the Grandmaster has been a hell of a lot easier due to the way the point system works as comparison did before. Partly because you're not actually getting penalised by too many points, but also because you only really need like 200 points to rank up into the next league, and you're generally going to be coming across the same people over and over again. Personally, I found it a lot easier to play Europe in the early morning if I wanted to get quickly into the next league. As soon as it started getting into the NA East and the evening times, there were some issues. But I'd like to get into what I'm actually talking about and what I found good and bad about this current Rank Battles, as well as my current gripes. The changes overall is definitely got more people to join, which means finding games is a hell of a lot easier, and when you throw in the fact there's a silver up on for the tier 10s, that's certainly helped getting the population up. Whereas before you might only find like 20-30 people, there were regular occasions that were going up to about 80 or 90. Similar to what you'd find in the regular games, but don't forget that 7v7 instead of 15v15, you're going to find a game very, very quickly. And because people are progressing through the leagues, you're not going to often find yourself waiting to be placed against people in the lower ranks. Although not to say that that wouldn't happen, because it would, is part of what they had. From what I read on Facebook and elsewhere, however, more people were not inclined to get involved last time. I would presume on the basis that the point system let them down. Certainly this time, the way I've looked at Facebook and other features, whether it be on the forums, for example, as well, there are a lot more people being happy for getting to the Grandmaster rank and actually getting there. Some people even saying it's the first time they played Rank Battles, so it's definitely moving in the right direction. I'd also like to say that the prizing is a lot better than last time. Take this with a pinch of salt if you will, but I'll say this on the basis that since it's a lot easier to get to the Grandmaster rank, having the prizes reduced makes more sense. I would love to have 30 days premium time again, because it's worth a hell of a lot in terms of monetary value, along with everything else that you get as well. But the prizes this time around make sense for how easy it is to actually get to where you are, so I don't see the downside to that being changed. It's nice that they offered 30 days premium, but even as it is now with 7 days, I would still be happy with that. I don't mind tier 10s in Rank Battles, even though it made people play the same tanks over and over again. Personally myself, I use the Batchat and the E5. Autoloaders tended to be rife in Rank Battles, hence a reason for the Batchat and anything with armor, which pretty much put you down to Batchats, AMX50Bs, T57 heavies, your waffles, your mouse, your E100, and your E5 as a primary. Other ones sometimes your E4, E3, and Jagdpanzer E100 as your TDs. Not many light tanks, seriously not many, and including artillery. There were some games they're just not going to work well on, especially when you consider you're going to get Ensk and Himmelsdorf on a very, very regular basis. Playing artillery was a risk because you weren't always going to get mines. Ghost Town being another one of a prime example of a game or a map you don't want to play as artillery. So a little bit less, kind of stuck it towards mediums, heavies, tank destroyers, and again those with autoloaders as well as those with lots and lots of armor. Games were similar to last time in the point system, once again, quite fair. Definitely in trying to ensure that when you're placed into games with people in lower leagues than yourself, didn't happen too often, but it still did, or at least with people not as good as you, you had a chance to not lose any points should the game not go your way, but you did very well for your team, so you're not getting penalised as much. This is going back to the time when you had, I can't even remember when it was, but it was personal performance was actually included. You could get 23 points for a win, lose the next game and do really well, and get minus 40 or minus 30. And you'd be going in completely the wrong direction, despite the fact that you would do a lot better. That was in part due to a low server population and the fact there was less people in the higher leagues, so I'd often get ranked with people in lower leagues, which created some issues. I don't see now that this will work for the second and third place finishers. Maybe in the next Rank Battles it will do, but for the sake of second and third place finishers in future Rank Battles, if they are going to take personal performance into account, because it should do, certainly the basis that I've seen plenty of donuts being dropped in Rank Battles, people getting Jagdpanzer 100s or Death Stars and firing multiple shots off and getting nothing. If, for example, you had the losing team, first place, minus 100, but they get first place, they get plus 100, so they don't get anything. Second place, maybe if they just lost 75, and then third place 50, that might be ideal. I like that as being a case, sorry, the other way around, I do apologise. The lose 50 for second place and lose 75 for third place. So you don't lose overall too much. If you find that you have done sort of okay, you get something from it. At least in the instance with the current rank battles, the way they are, the point system, that will be something if the point system was ever reworked. Because at the moment, you don't really need second, third, fourth, fifth place losers. You just need to have the first place because it's so easy to get ranked up. It's negligible. You're not going to drop down a league. You don't have to win 3 games in a row, which isn't that difficult in some cases, to then get ranked up to the next league. So it would only be something useful in the next time. So again, for the example being that if you lost a game, you lost 100 points. But if you came first, you got 100 points. So in theory, you basically had 0. But if it was that you came in second place on the losing team, instead of losing 100 points and not gaining anything, you would just lose 75. Just lose 50, sorry. And if you're in third place, you'd just lose 75. I kind of like that idea because it gives some incentive to some people who actually did something. To come second or third and not actually do anything is very, very rare, certainly in ranked battles, unless you are, without being really sounding horrible, doing really bad. But we'll go on to the bad points. Personally, it's still too easy to reach the higher leagues, and given the last 2 ranked battles, it feels like it's really pointless it being called ranked in any place when anyone can reach the top of the leaderboard. I'm sorry if there were people that feel like they getting to the top was an achievement, but based on the previous ranked battles that have been, i.e. the time when you'd have plus 23 for a win and minus 30 for a loss, it didn't feel like a challenge, and certainly not something I would be classing as skill-based, in the same way that I would find, for example, Rocket League ranked or Halo ranked. Those, to be able to progress further up the leagues, you would need to have skill, you would need to have teamwork, you need to have something that makes you separate or different from everyone else that's playing. In this case, I just don't see it being called ranked battles as legitimate, and if you got to that, the Grandmaster, well done, but if you played the previous iterations of ranked battles, it's very unlikely you would have got anywhere near. It was a hell of a lot more difficult. So just an end point on that is it's not skill based. It really isn't. It's just something to do, and I don't know if that's going to change at all. Maybe it will do. I'd like to see it change, but we'll see that in the future. I'm obviously not talking about the fact that the rank battle itself was limited, however. So this only ran for 2 days, which, well, technically 3 in some cases if you want to see it that way. The way I saw rank battles was a case of getting premium time. Maybe they are still working on it, but they have been for some time, so there's that as well. I just can't even get it. But the time that rank battles ran for makes sense for everything that's happened. So you have your easy point system to get to the top. It didn't make too much of a problem. If rank battles was, for example, run for a week, then a definite change to the point system needs to happen, because everyone would reach it. Considering how many people have currently reached it now, something would need to change. At least in that case, you could see rank battles becoming more skill-based, something which is more akin to what you'd find on other games that have a ranked playlist versus social playlists. But that would only be on the basis if it actually did run for the entire week, as an example, rather than just the 3 days. I would like that. I would like to see what would happen with that. I don't quite understand or know what's going on now with the fact that things don't seem to have changed too dramatically, because maybe they are going to run it for 2 or 3 days every weekend, but again, why is it called rank battles in that case? At the end of the day, with rank battles, hopefully we'll see something change with it, and I'd like to see it change to a week maybe in a point system change for it. Either with that, if they are going to keep it the same, change the name, because it's not rank battles at all, but keep the pricing the way it is, keep everything the way it is at the moment. Tier 10s isn't a problem, tier 8s isn't even a problem with that as well. Yes, you'll see that people play the same tanks, but anyone does that in normal gameplay. You see quite often the same tanks being used. If there's one last thing I'd like to point out with rank battles is, please stop calling for platoons to be available. Platoons should not be something of an option in rank battles. At present, yes, the per server population who are playing it are getting higher, but you 100% do not want people going in with platoons, because if you did, you would be annihilated. There would be so many people going in. It would not be very useful for people who've currently got Grandmaster who never had it before or found it difficult to get it before. you'll probably never get it again. Hopefully, with the brief sort of overview and the kind of things I do and do not like about ranked battles itself, you have to be able to form your own opinion. I'm not trying to put anyone down who did end up getting to Grandmaster. It's certainly a hell of a lot different to what it was before. I'm not here to try and belittle you for any reason at all if you do believe that's to be the case. It's just I see ranked versions of games to be completely different to what the social is. So that there should be a higher skill gap. There should be a case of some sort of challenge to be involved in getting anywhere near the top. Certainly in other games that I play, getting anywhere near the top is a stupidly big challenge, and that would be going all the way back to Halo 2. You would need a very, very good team to get anywhere near level 30, level 35, etc. But that's just me going back on what I believe ranked battles is. It could end up being the definition changes. Who knows? Here's hoping, though, that it can soon be something of a permanent fixture or something of a long running, and certainly if it is long running, prizes will have to change, the point system will have to change, but we'll see what happens with that. At the moment, however, my 2 cents is that the current ranked battles as it is good. If they're going to run it for 3 days, and maybe keep it as it is, the point system, the prizing certainly needs to stay the same. Change the name possibly to something different, because it's not really ranked battles, if I'm perfectly honest. If you're going to see it running it for longer than 3 days, maybe for a week, prizes, the points, and the fact it is ranked can come back. But also, last but not least, do not allow platoons into ranked battles, because that will break it. Thank you very much for your time, and I shall see you people later.